Okay, so today's session we are going to work on the nose and carry on around here before we move on and work around here. So I am going to start with just getting my pencils that I think I'm going to need for this area. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. Okay, right. So we are going to use the terracotta. Okay. I'm just going to add a bit more layer around here, just as a base layer, because there's it's browny terracotta, orangey kind of red, so we are going to be adding in some of the Venetian red, and we'll have a look to see what other colours that we'll continue to add with it. I think the granite rose around here as well, but we'll just very faintly do this as well. So the colour, so just the follow the direction of the fur. We just have to go careful to not make it too orangey. We just have to sort of kind of like be on the limit of it. But we can always work that out once we've added the colour. So just make sure the direction of the fur. These are going to be very, very short pencil marks, because this part of the fur is actually it's quite short. And just remember, we're not going to be going dark on this either, because it's the lighter part of the fox's face. So this part here is actually, it's going in loads of different directions at once. So what we want to do is just zoomed in on my on the reference photo, just to make sure I can just see where it's where it's at. So it's actually looking like it's coming this way. Looks like there's going to be a darker bit around here. Just very lightly and very short pencil strokes. So this is all about putting down that base colour. So it's just coming in at this angle here. Kind of stops around about there, because around this part I want to add in the Pablo Granite Rose, which is one of the pencils in your box, in your subscription box. Kind of like fan-like as you're sort of coming across here, so you're going that way and then you're going towards a straight line that way, and then it's sort of gradually sort of going over this way as well. Okay, so then I'm going to add a slight point to the Granite Rose Pablo. That's it. Okay, and just although this bit looks a bit smoother, you can just about make out the direction of the fur. So it's coming down that way, very, very lightly on the surface there. And this fans out as well. I'm just going to keep building the layers up on this as well. And as you can see, I'm using the glassine paper to sort of cover the bit where we've already, you know, done the other work on the with the pencils. I just don't want to sort of lift out anything on my hand or make the surface area dirty. So when I'm sort of doing something like this, I just like to have a little think about what I really want to do once if I'm not actually drawing it as a commission, what do I actually want to do with this picture at the end once I've finished it. And I've also, you know, over the years, when friends have looked at some of my drawings, you know, through my sketchbooks, they've always said to me, don't hide your artwork away, it needs to be on display. And so I'm already thinking that I would like this particular one to actually go into a small frame, and I'll probably get it mounted actually, because you can take it to framers and they'll mount it for you. I mean, they may, you know, if you want to spend a bit of extra money, you can get them to frame it for you. But otherwise, I mean, if you get it framed, you can, it's, you know, it tends to cost obviously a bit more money. So you could get it mounted and then choose your own frame. So I'm going to get this mounted, and then I'll get a small frame for it, and then I'm going to put it on the wall just above my work desk here, so that I can see it. Because, you know, you should always be, whatever stage of you are in your art journey, you should always be proud of all of the hard work you've put in. And then of course what I'll do is I'll post this as it is once it's completed in the group, and then I'll also post with it's all being framed and mounted and framed as well. So gradually add in lightly some more layers around here. Just want this bit to be a bit more pinky in this area. And if you notice on the reference photo, you've got some of the fur, darker fur going that way and then that way, and then it goes into the black of the nose. So we're going to bring all this together and blend it. Okay, just want to make sure that the angle's right. So what we're going to want to do is on this part, because we're using the Pablo, we want to go and try and use some of the polychromos on top of it to provide more detail to this part. Okay, so we've got that part in. Excuse me, I think I've got a bit of a cold at the moment. Just trying to have a look to see what other colour I want to use. I think I'm going to go and have a look at the, just bear with me, just thinking out loud. I'm going to go with the Polychromos Cinnamon. I'm just sharpen that slightly. So if you don't have Polychromos pencils and you don't have a cinnamon colour, I think Castle Arts have got a cinnamon shade as well, but if you've got like anywhere between like a pinky browny colour, I would say this is, you can go over this lightly with that as well. Again, just very slightly small pencil strokes there, but then it also changes direction. So we don't want to go too far up. For the moment, because we're just going to work around the the end of the nose like this. And this is where we want to start going in different directions in this central part. You can see it's actually coming up quite nicely. I mean, obviously around this part we've got to add like a darker brown at some point and going over here, but for the moment we'll just carry on with it as layering in the colours. So we don't want this as extremely dark. And just remember, very light short pencil strokes. Okay, and I'm going to start adding in a moment around this part some slightly darker shades. Just sort of carry on building this bit up. Because although we went lighter around here, I'm going to actually, once we've done the bit around here, I'm going to work on the top of the nose part again, just to sort of make it slightly more vibrant as we're bringing it all in together. Because if we'd gone in really dark to start with, then using this pencil on top of it would have probably made this area a bit dirty looking. Okay, just gonna go for let's have a look at this one. Is that gonna show up? No, that one's a bit too light. Just bear with me when I talk to myself. What have we got here? Warm earth 40%. Yep. So this is the Luminance Warm Earth 40%. So it's kind of used to be called, I think it was called Dark Flesh, before they changed that over to Warm Earth. So it's like a browny colour with like a slight tinge of pink. So if you've got a very light brown, if you don't have this Luminance pencil, then you can just go ahead and use one of your lighter brown shades. So I'm just actually gonna just do a slight point on it. There we go. So we just only just do one turn of the pencil sharpener. I'm just going to start layering up the colour on here. So we don't want it to go a whole, you know, across the whole of this part here. We just want this very central part to have these slightly deeper shades. And then what I'm going to do afterwards is include this part in here as well, once we've worked on this part. So that's actually building up really nicely. And then I just want to add some bits of brown in there. I mean, let's have a look. It's not overly sort of really dark bits of brown. What's this raw umber looking like? Yeah, so the Polychromos raw umber, and if you don't have that one, then you can use a light brown on it, just to sort of give us a few hints and tips of like a darker shade coming through, because you've got it blending in from this dark part here. So the pigments just start to come off slightly, which you're going to get because of all the different layers on there. Okay, so we've got that bit there, because then what I want to do is get the black Polychromos pencil and just ever so slightly just bring it in, just so that it's not a sharp line. I mean, we do have a bit of a line going there, and again around there, but we just want to add it gently. And just make it a natural line, if you know what I mean, rather than just drawing the line across. Just keep going backwards and forwards with your layers very gently. Excuse me, just taking a drink. Okay. Just want to go over this part again. This is a bit too light round here, so like I said in one of the other videos, sometimes when you walk away and come back, you can see things just need, you know, slightly altering. So the light on the actual reference photo is very slight. You can just see a hint of it, and I think just now I just think it was far too light there. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. Ooh. There. So that goes in there. I think that just needs to come out slightly. Like that. Yeah, I think that's much better. And just very, oh, I keep hitting that camera, just very lightly around here, because we don't want to do it as dark as that part. There we go, and then we've got, actually I just probably need to remove a bit Right. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Just going to make it slightly more rounded so it just doesn't look like I've just rubbed a huge bit out. But that does look a lot better because there is a bigger patch of light on there. Yeah, that looks better, and I think, yeah, I want to make this slightly lighter. You can just see how the Tombow is really good at getting small pieces out there, and it does make all the difference. But this part isn't as light as that part, so I think what we'll do is we look at the warm grey 4 and just add that in. Yeah, that looks much better. I'm happy with that. Just going to look at the Buff Titanium luminance, but if you don't have that, then a white or a cream or ivory would be okay. Just want to give it a bit more of a natural colour. And I think I just need to thicken that part a bit. Okay, let's go back in with the black. And we just want to add some more around there. It's not until you start adding colour around a piece like we're doing with the nose here that you notice that you need to make some small, like, minor adjustments. Just want to darken that a bit, very lightly on the pencil, but just darken it. Yeah, that looks much better. Okay, so I'm actually going to use, what's this going to look like? No. Yeah, I'm going to use a dark sepia polychromos, so that will be a dark brown for you if you don't have that as in a polychromos pencil. Just gonna add some more of the natural rather than black, just adds a bit more browny colour into it, and just have that slightly running through. Very small light dabs of colour, and there you go. That's where you can have the light, the darker part, the middle part of the of the nose. Okay, so just looking at what colour pencil I decided I wanted to go ahead with. That was it. So the Warm Earth 40% for the luminance. So again, that's going to be like it's like a pinky brown in your own, in your own set. And I just want to add a bit of this colour on top. Excuse me if you can hear my son in the background. He's talking with his girlfriend at the moment, and sometimes where his room's next door, you can actually hear him. Okay. And there he is off again, if you can hear him. So again, we're doing short light layers of this colour. And what I'm going to do is add this one as a specific layer on top of what we're already working with. So this bit here is already still going in that direction. See, at the moment you can see it still looks quite flat there, but that will change once we start building more around here as well. But I just, for the moment, just want to add in this layer just so that we know what we're working with. So we're just bringing it in and working it in together. So we've got that part there. As you can see, with the more layers you do, you can just see it gradually appearing. And that's a good thing with working with different brands of pencils. They have different like softness and hardness of lead. Some are like waxy, some of them are oily, but they tend to work really well together. Okay, this bit's looking a bit, on the picture, it's quite an awkward shape to it. But once we've got the rest of the colour added in, then we can work on seeing which direction it's going to go in a bit more. So when you go back and look at what you did before you know, when you first started filling in the eyes, and compared to what it all looks like now, you can see why we sort of put a lot of time, you know, into drawing these animals, and it is worth it, definitely. Because when you first saw this was just a load of line art, and then when you suddenly start adding in the eyes, it sort of slowly starts coming to life, and then as you start building around, it sort of starts to look even better. Okay. So we're just working on the bridge part here. I mean, when you first sort of open up the videos for this tutorial, you might see that it's in so many parts, and you might think, oh my goodness, this is going to take forever. But I don't know, if you maybe, I mean, it's not something you need to stick to a timeline on. It's something you can always sort of come back to, because you know, you can follow the videos and you can pause it where you want. And you know, if you just do like an hour or so here and there, or if you want to do it in less, that's absolutely fine as well. Then you know, the time just sort of passes away. So you know, passes by so quickly. Right, I'm just going to work on this part for the moment. So I am going to use the Polychromos Nougat. So it's just the not the lightest, but one of the lighter, darker browns, if that makes sense. So that's what we want to do with that part. So we're going to build it up anyway, but we just want to make sure that we can get in the shape that this nose is going to be in. So lightly and small, again, small strokes. So just kind of go round like that, and then so we've got that black part there, or the dark brown part. So we've got that little darker part across the cheek there. So that's kind of like where the nose goes, and you've got the cheek part coming in. Although this is going to be more of a reddy browny colour there. I just want to put this base layer in just so that we can see where this is going to go. But yeah, sort of I don't know whether I actually finished what I was saying. Yeah, so talking about how many parts these videos are and the lengths of some of them. Just taking one at a time. You don't have to watch the full hour in one go. It's entirely up to you how you want to do it. Don't feel daunted by how long it takes, because it really, like I keep saying, it's really worth it. It's yeah, I loved it. I absolutely love doing this, and just passing on knowledge and skills to people who haven't really done a lot of coloured pencil drawing in the past. I mean, I started out like yourselves, mostly mostly self-taught, and then I had a look at the odd occasional tutorials, because you can find quite a lot out there. I mean, there's some really good ones about, but you know, I've wanted to make this one more accessible, because I don't, you know, you've got some like great artists out there, loads of great artists, but I think for myself, I tend to teach people in a way that I'd like to be taught, because I'm neurodivergent. You know, I like to sort of peel back the layers and explain why I'm doing things. And I know lots of people do that, but I think I could just bring something different. Right, so we've got there. And like I said, it's all about making art inclusive and accessible to everyone, whether you're neurodivergent, whether you're neurotypical, you know, and also art doesn't need to be expensive. It can, you know, it can be affordable. Oh, there it is. So I couldn't see for looking then. So I'm just going to add a small, there we go, small sharp tip to that, because what I want to do is I want to sort of subtly bring in around here. Because it's quite a thin line there, but just very, very lightly. So you can see now, hang on, you've got, you can, there, hang on, there and there you can just see the shape just coming in, just with a slightly different colour added in. How it's looking, like that. So it naturally starts taking shape, just the odd occasional natural change of colour and direction. So we've got a darker part around here. And then you have, so we'll start this darker part coming through around there. I probably will go over it with a bit of black as well, but it's got quite darker bits coming in through there. And just you know, just remember, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, because if you look on the reference photo, this isn't a symmetrical face. Faces aren't symmetrical, so it's going to look slightly different from the other side. It's just getting it roughly in the same position, but also making sure that it doesn't look flat as well. And then if you look with this part and that part, this part is a lot darker than that part. And it's good, once we've got that part in, you can see it's going to, hang on, if I get the Caput Mortuum Violet, you can see from there that that starts plotting in. So then it goes across like that. Sorry, if you don't have the Caput Mortuum Violet, I know that I've converted it into Castle Arts. You could probably use, this is like a burgundy, I would say, so like a reddy browny, deep reddy browny colour. But if not, just use a different shade of brown, because I know a lot of these sets, they have lots of different shades of brown with them. And so we're just lightly going through like this. And very lightly again, small strokes. And you see that the actual, the muzzle and the nose are all slowly going into sort of the shape that they're supposed to go into. So we have that part there. We don't want to go across any more than that. So just bear with me whilst I plot this part. mean, this colour, I just love this shade, and it just really adds a really lovely deep reddy brown to the colouring. And you can pick one of these up at the, I think at the Colour Pencil shop online. I think she does these for £1.80 each. Okay, so it just goes in a bit there. So you can really see it starting to come together around here. And just gently follow the direction of the fur. So it also comes in this direction as well as going up around there as well. That's it, and from around here it fans out and goes into another direction. Kind of like, if you look at the picture, it looks like it's got a straight line there, but we're going to just blend it so that it takes on a natural line. Okay. So it goes around there. You've got the bit coming down there, and then, yeah, so then it goes in. Because then what we would do for this part is, I think I might get that some of the Venetian red that you've got from your box. Just bring that into the mix as well. Where is that? Yeah, again, I'm going to use the Luminance Warm Earth 40% around here, because I just want to make sure it looks quite natural. And just bring it very lightly along here. And there's a part there that goes in that direction on the nose. And you can actually see where we blended the colours together to make it quite natural looking, it's actually coming together quite nicely. Just want to block that in slightly. And I would like to add, to see what the luminance terracotta is going to do, just very lightly. Don't want it really overly orange looking. But we do have kind of that colour a bit more there. There's like a patch coming through. Just want to add a bit more going through here as well. So yeah, this part here is not as straightforward as that part. It's just, I don't know, we'll work through it. It's good to have a challenge, so we can, which means, you know, that we're always learning new techniques. And also, you know, it sort of gives you a chance to sort of really see what the reference photo's doing, what, you know, really see it for yourself rather than what you think you know, what your brain thinks it's seeing. So you can see we're sort of just gradually bringing it all in. And whilst you can see that that bit is different from that bit, it's different shades. But we're just make it slightly, you know, it all just needs to be as natural as possible. But it's, like I said, face, you know, animals and human faces aren't symmetrical. Going back to the warmer 40%, just because I want to bring in a bit more shade. It's starting to really make the difference, isn't it? Like, whilst we're moving around, you know, working on this part. So, you know, we're gradually moving into this area. So very small, light strokes of the pencil. So we're just coming down through that as well. like so. We're just going to bring this one around. Because there's like, you know, we definitely need to add more colour around here, but I just want to concentrate on just getting this part done. Okay, and then I just want to add a bit more in of the Luminance Terracotta just round here for the moment, because we do have a bit that sort of stands out a bit. And let's have a look what else we've got. I'm going to go with the Polychromos Terracotta, because whilst they're both terracotta, they're different shades, ever so slightly difference in them, and they have both different types of core to them as well. So the Luminance is a lot softer than the Polychromos. And we just want to be very gentle with this centre part again. There we go, just keep building up the layers like that, and you can actually see it all coming together really nicely. That's one of the things I like about coloured pencils is, you know, you put in the work, and I just love watching the page come to life of whatever animal I'm drawing. And knowing that, you know, when you've done the work yourself and you've put in all that hard work, and, you know, what's appearing on the page is just so rewarding. We just have to be mindful that we don't overwork what we're doing to make it confusing and muddy looking. Which is why we go, excuse me, which is why we go so light, because if you put in too dark colours, it's difficult to go over the top of it again. I'm going to try some of the Graphite Rose Pablo again. Just going to put a slight, that's it, sharpness on the point, because I think that could just do with a bit more pinkiness to it. we don't want like a sun line stopping. It just blends in coming down. So we kind of like want a more natural finish, so that it comes, you can see that it's just coming into the pinky area. There we go, like that. And I'm going to add a bit of the Polychromos Raw Umber, so that's a light brown. Just want to add a slight different texture of brown coming through. Just a bit going through here again. Okay, I'm going to go with the cinnamon, so that's like a pinky brown. So we do need to add a bit more darkness to that part, which we will do next time, because with what we'll be doing next time is finishing, going around this part here. Might actually, just before we finish off this part, is just put like another layer of the raw umber in, which is your light brown again. Very small light dabs of colour. Just want to bring this in a bit more. And then it does go in that way. Because then what we're going to do actually is, before we come back down here, I want to finish off adding colour around here and then working around that way. Oh, but working around that way before we start, you know, putting the finishing touches in. Just very, very lightly, just blend it in like that. So that you can see it's lighter around those areas, like it is on the reference photo. Just going to add a bit more of the graphite rose around here. And then a slightly bit more of the cinnamon. There it is. There, so that's it for this session. So I'm so pleased with how this is going. So in the next video we will carry on with this part, work around doing this part, and then finish off the front of the fur on its under its chin, and then we should get that part done. Maybe go on to another session to finish that part, and then do the finishing touches, and then we are so close to finishing. So I hope you're pleased with yours as I am with mine, and well, I'll see you on the next session.